We thank God for keeping us alive, and we thank God for giving us encouragement, the strength, the courage, the stamina to talk about our global issues. This program and this public lecture is brought to you in conjunction with Pan-African Forum Limited, United Kingdom Limited, Pan-African Forum Africa, Africa World Media, and Radio Punchline Africa, connected to the Starlink direct from, as you can see, from Atlantic Ocean in West Africa. I thank the Starlink, the people of Ghana. Thank you very much. Right now in Europe, at the center of all this difficulty, may the Pope rest, his soul rest in peace, so that more peace is God. We get peace instead of getting tears. I brought this topic, those who will pick this recording later, and those who are ready, those who are still working at their offices. The public lecture is being transmitted worldwide. Those who are picking, those who want to join us on Zoom, you can join and make your contribution. And we have no problem about your contribution. But you will give us time, you'll give me time to give at least 45 minutes breakdown of this topic. Ladies and gentlemen, the world is at a cliffhanger. The world peace is threatened. The countries that took part in this war sat down and formed an organization that can foster peace. They formed that organization. They created instruments within the organization. More formidable is Chapter 7 of the United Nations Security Council. Article 39 and Article 40 of the United Nations Security Council. That in Chapter 7, the United Nations Security Council will invoke any of those articles to make sure that peace prevails in the entire world. Ladies and gentlemen, the wars in Somalia, the wars that we see in Ukraine, in the Middle East, all these wars are caused by or are supported by members of the United Nations Security Council. The topic before me today is simple. Is the United Nations Security Council dead? Who is the watchman for peace? It is sad, therefore, for us, I continue from there, to see the situation that is taking place across the globe. Fragile situation. Policies that are not policies that make war. Transactional democracy being perpetuated by superpowers. Bring me oil, I'll give you arms to go and kill people. This is what we are seeing today. And if we don't speak about us, if you call yourself a scholar, an intellectual, an expert in international relations or political science, and then you don't speak up, then you are not nothing. You are not anything at all. If you look at the international scene, the international relations is warped up, is finished. Tariffs, the sense of acrimony in everywhere. Canada fighting, Brazil fighting, Britain quiet, France dormant, passive, nobody. European Union looking for a solution. The problem. And therefore we must speak. And we must speak this in Europe, because the Second World War and the First World War began in here, in where I am today. It is not in Africa that the Second World War began. They came and gave us, put us in a situation. Again, we are being put in a situation, threatened by the situation, by superpowers that ignite, that created, that fought against Hitler and other forces. Then sit quiet and watch and call yourself a scholar of nations or politics, or you are nettle with PhDs and so on, sitting quiet watching the main of peace, the destruction of Chapter 7 of the United Nations Security Council. The instrument was to protect peace. Article 39 and 40 of Chapter 7. It is you will not be doing the service to God. I'm speaking this because most people will say, why speak now? I'm speaking because the Republic of Congo faces a challenge. The USA said it has signed agreements that will give the United States of America, will give Democratic Republic of Congo arms if it gives it access. I want to go back to the question of Ukraine, because people might think we are talking what is not there. I said openly that oil from Ukraine signed the document. You saw the shame that President put on President Zelensky of Ukraine, almost for him to sign for oil, a transactional system that is destroying this world. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm giving this video, these recordings, to the world. I'm giving it as facts that you can find out. Is UN alive? Is UN therefore still active? Do we have reinforcements? Are we reinforcing, enforcing peace? Are we creating peace? Are we creating solutions for this world? The removal of United Nations agencies, World Health Organization, United States has pulled. I am not bothered about USAID, because USAID was simply an organ that also created more problems for Africa. They came here to pick, they came to Africa. They went to Africa to pick witnesses for ICC. They went to Africa to do many bad things. They went to Africa for regime change. They pay people to uprise against governments. So it is okay. You can remove your money. That is okay. But removing money from WHO, of which some of these diseases come from most of the vulnerable places in Africa, is something that can create a war in the world. If the disease comes today, like we had COVID, what will you do? Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, it is sad, therefore, for us to pretend that things are very good in the world. If you look at the International Criminal Court, what is happening there is one of the worst areas that you cannot even describe. The chief prosecutor, Mr. Karim Khan, is told to go after some people. He's told, go to Philippines for example, go and pick Duterte. We want him because he works with China. Pick him now. If you don't pick him and bring him, you will not step in the United States of America. The chief prosecutor runs, goes to solve a political situation. The situation in the Philippines is purely political between President Marcos and Duterte. You cannot come to use instruments of the United Nations agency, ICC, Mr. Karim Khan, and I will table, I'll write amicus curiae that the one I wrote and I defeated you in the Israel case. I am happy I defeated you, and I'm proud that you did not listen to my advice, and I'm going to defeat you again on the question of Philippines. You have actually made a terrible mistake in the question of, this is one of the United Nations agents. I want to give another example. Some few years ago in 2018, 10 Southern Cameroonians, refugees who had taken refuge in Nigeria, were abducted. Rendition was done at night, blindfolded, beaten, tortured, exported to Cameroon, a rogue state in Cameroon headed by Paul Biya, and a rogue state in Nigeria headed by Buhari. You can see that a man stood up to remove drugs. Philippines was the conduit center of Southeast Asia, drug barons, cocaine, marijuana, and whatever it is. Whatever you want to do, you would pass through Philippines. The president of Philippines removed the drugs. Yes, I don't agree with the method that he used to kill, to beat up people and use hammers and so on. But I am talking about the political. Marcos, the son of Marcos, has a warrant of arrest in the United States of America, wanting him. They have frozen all his assets, and they want him to answer for money laundering and other activities. The president of Philippines promised America a very good base to allow the American base to stay, which Duterte had said, get out. They tell Mr. Duterte, Americans themselves are not signatories of the International Criminal Court. I'm bringing this example of Cameroon, Southern Cameroon, where Cameroon is not a member of the International Criminal Court, but Cameroon goes to a country which is a member of International Criminal Court, a state party, kidnaps 10 people, 10 professors, doctors, lawyers who had been given refugee status in Nigeria. The ICC, up to date, the International Criminal Court has not filed any report to the International Security, United Nations Security Council. So it's their United Nations Security Council. Look at those 10 Cameroonians who are suffering right now. They are detained by Mr. Paul Biya. They are under Mr. Paul Biya's mercy. Until he dies or they die, they will not see light. Is the ICC not a body of International United Nations Security Council? It reports every time, runs to Washington. Why hasn't he indicted Mr. Paul Biya for kidnapping and abduction of people who were brought out from Nigeria, 10 of them, plus now another one, 11, whom he has just detained for life? Is this the peace we are looking for? Democratic Republic of Congo, it goes to Qatar. It does what it is doing. While it is in Qatar, the M23 plus the government were hammering an agreement. America comes in and says, oh, excuse me, bring us arms, bring us oil, diamond, what? Give us. We shall give you army. The army coming to DRC Congo from America is not killing trees, is not killing water, is not killing plants. It is killing human beings. United Nations Security Council themselves. In the case of Cameroon, France is #1 culprit that has frustrated any case to be opened again here until I penetrated to lay papers. And I continued papers that last night I laid a paper to the court, my disagreement with the chief prosecutor. And I'm going to lay another paper to Old Bailey in London for indictment of the chief prosecutor of the criminal court for abating genocide in Cameroon. That is what I'm going to do. And for making it very difficult, because United Kingdom is a part and parcel of the ICC. Therefore, I have a right to call on the chief prosecutor to come to explain in London. If he cannot explain why he has not indicted and reported those 10 people, all UN agencies have done reports about the abductions, the kidnaps, the killings that are taking place in southern Cameroon and Biafra. We have not seen any of the reports, but the chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, up here, down here, in the head, upside here, runs around and throws a lot of garbage to us that is arresting Duterte. On whose orders? On one of the members of the United Nations Security Council. Therefore, we've lost it. Look at us in East Africa. I want to bring you back home. I want to tell the presidents of Africa to listen to me. They have a right to talk about these things, but some of them, because of their diplomats. I'm not a diplomat. I'm an activist, international activist who has read political science to the last iota on planet Earth. You can't challenge me if you give me an exam with Trump to sit on the table. I'll defeat him on the question of international politics because I know how it works. But look, if we are not going to speak, then we are useless. If we can't speak, then we are useless. Then we didn't go to school. We went to school compounds and remained there. Look at the problem of they are brought to East Africa. Now, why don't we just have a meeting? Give us a chance to have a meeting. If you want, let Al-Shabaab come on table. Because after all, they did it also the way they did with Taliban. They avoided, they ran very early in the morning, left people to be slaughtered by the Taliban in Afghanistan. Look at another mess that is taking shape in Africa. Captain Traore, my dear younger friend, a man that I have visited several times, 6 times in total. I've been there, I've seen what development is taking place in Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger. A man, people who are trying to do something for their own countries. France has light. Burkina Faso has no light at night. Niger has no light at night. Mali, but France is lighting its territory because of the uranium and other things they pick from these states. They said, no, we don't want you. We want to sell our uranium directly. America has no right to come and say they are selling gold. Whose gold was that? The gold belongs to the Burkina Faso people. It is not the gold of the Americans. We have to speak for these younger people. So what God is going to ask me, that why didn't you say this when you are still on earth? That's why I brought another example. There is a war now coming up, which is very soon going to break out in Ivory Coast between Babugo and Ouattara. Again, you know very well Mr. Ouattara is not an Ivorian. Everybody knows he's from Burkina Faso. That's why Mr. Ouattara is very busy fomenting a coup to go and take over Mr. Ibrahim Traore's territory because he's Burkinabe. He's not an Ivorian. why the fight was there is because Babgo is a real man from Ivory Coast. And Mr. Ouattara is not from Ivory Coast. He was imposed on the people of Ivory Coast. And that is the truth. One of the things that is killing us Africans is that we don't have the Mugabes who used to speak the truth. Our leaders don't say the truth. They shy away, they lie, they come back and tell us don't talk about America. I am not a diplomat. If you don't like my words, it's okay, fine, thank you. But let me speak. You shouldn't. I'm not inciting anyone. I'm not telling anyone to go and break things in any country. I am simply challenging an international bad order. The UN is no more. Even all of us, we know it. You see what is going on in the Indian Ocean. The autopilot Turkey is moving in, inciting Somalia to take up of oil ridges. Kenya is not safe either. We know what's going on. You are not talking. And now, until you see the drilling of this oil, they're fighting each other. I am bringing these things out for you people. Order, the world order, chapter 7 is gone of the National Security Council. Article 3940 is gone. We are not enforcing peace. We are enforcing war. We are bringing war. We are sending signals of triggering a war. Another is the question of an economic war that weighed around the world without any meaningful discussion by the nations. The Secretary General seemed to be compromised on the Israel and Palestine. Look at the situation itself. Why did it reach where we are? Over 40,000 Palestinians were killed, maimed, finished. But the point is, we know, people know terrorists are provocation in the United Nations ICJ. I was listening in a few days ago, last week. I was listening to the court in the ICJ very attentively because I was in notes working over for another organization called Witness International, gave me mandate to some of these things so that I can write them a report of what is going on. Listen to the case of Sudan and the UAE. It is very clear that the UN came up with a report, said, we found this and that and that and that. That evidence been given to the court. On 5th, you will see the ruling. The addresses are going to be made about who was the person behind the situation that has taken place in Sudan. So, given all this, is the United Nations alive or dead? Let's come to another aspect. The aspect of economy, the aspect of tariffs, the aspect of AGOA on obnoxious reasons. Country Uganda from AGOA. What for? Removing from AGOA. What for? What is wrong? Countries have African culture. African culture means to the governance systems that has made us to look different from other people. It is each country, a sovereign state in Africa, to do what it wants to do according to their laws, as long as infringing others' liberties and other people's rights. That is understandable. But when you take this matter as a weapon against every state in Africa, look at what they have done to Zimbabwe, a country that was once a very beautiful country, giving us food to the rest of Africa and the world. Is being harassed by over for 25 years. Sanctions have been biting that country up to now. look at the way it looks. So, ladies and gentlemen, those watching and those who will pick this clip, I want to thank you all to look at those small examples. A court is being used for political reasons. Because he's talking to Chinese. Leave Marco. He has a warrant. Go in some place, pick the country because they're harassing the Ukraine, they're harassing, but you are giving Tshisekedi arms. Go and indict Russia, Putin and a warrant of arrest. Put Netanyahu under Iran, but you are leaving is Ukraine. Ukraine is also using arms. They're defending, but it is also using arms to kill. The Russians are also being killed. Why don't you indict both of them? Then they can come to table, to South Sudan. Look at what they have done in South Sudan. That's another place, hot spot. Don't listen to logic, where even the dead Pope reinforced the United Nations Security Council resolutions on South Sudan. Applied to groups, and the groups started arming themselves. It is now a full-scale attack. Look, Libya. I was in court a few days ago. I was in Paris saying, Mr. Sarkozy, you cannot come here to say you. Mr. Sarkozy stole Libyan money, used it for campaign. The money was found in Paris, in France. He refused to bring back this money. This money has been frozen by the French courts. Money to Libya. No African leader is doing this. The African Union is the Libyans to recover this money. I single-handedly have blocked Mr. Sarkozy to the European Court of Justice of Human Rights, not to have, because there are no human rights for Mr. Sarkozy that will be broken if he comes to court and is jailed. He will serve the jail sentence. He wants custodial sentence. He must serve it. And therefore, I have been there. So I'm not speaking just like that. I've been there. I've filed a strong application that will be looked at by the judges, 27 judges, to say, hey, I think you have no grounds of not going to jail. I want Mr. Sarkozy. What about the Libyans? Look at the Libya that he caused trouble, that he claimed that he was going to protect civilians under Resolution 1973. Where the civilians who protected them? Where is Libya? Libya is no more. It's a ruined state. No medicine, no schools, no roads, no nothing. Two governments operating, still siphoning oil illegally. Who is doing that? Still the same states of the United Nations Security Council. America has taken Tripoli. Another one has taken Benghazi, France. So where is the Security Council of the United Nations? It is dead. Thank you very much. Those are my comments on this public lecture. I'll continue to be giving these public lectures on various subjects. If you have any comments that you want to make it in a constructive manner, send it to us. It is good enough to talk about these things because they matter around us. Therefore, from me, all the way from Europe, I want to thank you so much. God bless you. God bless Africa. Long live for Africa, with Africa, by Africa. Thanks.